AudaCity is quite known. So she told me about the fact that would I be interested in obviously joining a company that provides funds for traders.
So
Yeah.
I'll just get started by saying who I am and what I'm doing today. So my name is
Okay.
Leah from the PR department of AudaCity Capital. And at the moment,
Okay.
we're just conducting a few interviews with our traders just to find out a bit more about their trading journey and how they got into the industry. So
Okay.
my first question for you is just to introduce yourself and then explain how you got interested in trading and how that kind of built up to the place you are today.
Okay. So I'm Victor Unoigbe. And like I said, I got into trading courtesy of a very good friend of mine, a very good family friend of mine, who was actually introduced to a well-known Forex well, well, the Forex company. I don't know if I'm allowed. I don't know. Is it all right if I say the name of the company
Yeah,
or?
yeah, go for it.
Okay, so it's a well-known company. Well, they actually styled themselves as an educational at the Forex Educational Academy. I think they used to be known as IML. Yeah, it's I don't know if they changed their name now, but it's IML. So and they're quite well known, you know. So she was introduced, and so she also introduced me on board because, like I said, at the time, she said it was something for me to get into. So this was around December 2018. So what, 2.5, yeah, well, about 2.5 years ago. And at the time, so this was about a couple of weeks to Christmas. And, she was talking about the fact, because we were talking about, Christmas and obviously Christmas expenses, and she was talking about how it would be for me to come on board and learn about Forex and use it to earn additional income, obviously, to supplement whatever income I was getting from my normal day job. And so that's how, it sort of got started. So joined up, and of course with IML, because of course it's a forex company that obviously works. That is also based on a subscription model as well. So you subscribe, and they have a lot of educational resources. They have what they call tutors and educators who would give out signals, who would also run webinars, and basically teach about how they take their trades. So it was via IML I then sort of learned about the basics of forex, the lingo, the language, the terminology, what it actually involves, so currency pairs, all the trends, the whole sort of thing about so forex here. But then like I said, I then stuck with IML. I think I was IML for about 6, 7 months, because whilst like I said, because I was sort of getting signals from some of the competitors, and like I said, it's like with forex. There were good days when I would take trades on the signals, and there were good profits to be made, and of course there were days when when you had sort of losses as well. But having actually learned about the basics and a bit about technical analysis as well, I then left. Then I sort of stopped my subscription with IML because at the time I felt that I could actually sort of branch out on my own and then sort of develop my own sort of expertise on my own. So I then started. So when I left, so this was about summer of 2019, and then I said, right, I started watching more YouTube videos, with emphasis on learning about price action. So I was looking for videos on price action, the structure of the markets. Obviously, I was looking, I was watching a lot of video resources of a lot of people who trade, independent traders. And I found out that, and then I started to use that to obviously build my own sort of trading strategies. So, because at the time I used to do both. So I used to do swinging for long-term trades, as well as scalping in terms of sort of intraday trading. And of course, it wasn't easy because obviously, as you can imagine, I used to have a lot of blown accounts. I used to have a lot of margin calls. and it took me a while before I then started to then realize that I needed to pay more attention to the money management part of trading. So, when you take a trade, you have to make sure that whatever lot size you use, you want to make sure that it's you don't use a lot size that would enable your account to be blown to have a margin call. You have to work out where's a good place to put stop losses. You have to work out where's a good place to have an entry, a good entry, so that you can maximize profit on a trade when it's profitable, when it goes in the direction you want. Um, so all of that helped. And then, of course, I then started to build a strategy where I then started to realize that and this sort of strategy is quite simple when you think about it. And what it involved was looking at zones of resistance and support. And again, this is like I said, building on a lot of things I'd watched from people where you look at the market, you look at where you have areas of major and minor supports and resistance, and look for price to reverse at the zones. So what you want to do is where price would come up to some of the zones, and when it reverses so when it pulls back, you want to get in on that. So you want to capture pips, as many pips as you want when it does what we call retracements. And so this was something I learned about when I started and then I started to do that more on an intraday basis. And I found that that started to help as it were. So you can imagine where if you look at where price would have ended, maybe the high or the low that price would have made on a particular day or on a particular time frame. And if you look at the trend, so of course with Forex, you've got uptrends or downtrends. And like I said, you look at what it does at the zones, and then when you try to get the retracement, you go in on that. You work out where you want to get good price, where you want to take price or take profits, the zones, and then where you put your stop losses. So that helps. And then, of course, a few months ago, or well, rather, so this is what brought me to where I am with AudaCity. So like I said, so this family friend of mine, because who's also still trading, then obviously told me, because they had, obviously, because AudaCity is quite known. So she told me about the fact that would I be interested in, obviously, joining a company that provides funds for traders, because in effect, the funds are a very good leverage for retail traders like myself to be able to, trade whilst obviously having the benefit of getting profits. If you make the profit margins or the minimum profit margins on that, and so I liked the idea of that, and that's what brought me on board with AudaCity.
Great. I think that's a great
Yeah,
story, and you seem very
yeah,
knowledgeable on Forex and everything around that. And a lot of people are doing what you're doing now. A lot of people I interview, which
mm,
is going into mentorships and teaching themselves how to trade. And it seems to work very well for them.
yeah,
They get to build on their own knowledge with their own strategy at their own pace. So yeah, that's great to hear. And
yeah.
my next question is, did you face any obstacles with your trading at all? Like some people may have blown their account, had something else that really affected their trading.
Oh,
And did you
oh
come out
gosh.
on top of it at all?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, and this is something I'd mentioned earlier with my earlier answer, where I said that um, some of the obstacles I came up was where I was blowing accounts, and that's because where if I hadn't actually set the parameters right for trades, so like I said, I gave an example of maybe using the wrong lot size. So you can imagine, so for instance, example, if I had say a trading balance of £500, for instance, in an account I had, and then you want to target a a trade that you reckon could give you a profit of say 50 pips, for instance, and then you put in a lot size, you put in a substantially lot size, so say, I don't know, say one lot, for instance, and not taking into account the fact that putting that in would mean that you'll be putting pressure on the leverage you have and the margin as well, on the percentage margin. And of course, if price was then to reverse against you, if that was to go in the opposite direction, next thing you know, you're getting the margin call, you're having blown the account. And this was happening to me very regularly. In fact, sometimes it got to the stage where I thought to myself, I don't think this Forex is for me. I don't think this thing is for me. I might as well give it up and, go and, carry on. But then, like I said, thankfully, the person who introduced me to Forex, and as well as other friends who have got to do Forex, whenever that used to happen, they would sort of encourage me and say, look, if you have this sort of experience, it's an experience to learn from. It would actually help with, with your Forex knowledge, because then you would realize where you had gone wrong. You realize whatever mistakes you've made or errors you've made. And then, that then helps. And I used to find that, so the next time I would want to do something, I would have learned, you know, um, and like I said, and also again, being a family person as well, because I've got a young family, so married, two little children, and like I said, I've got normal, I've got my regular day job, and it's that thing when you're trying to keep on top of things, you see, because you're trying to trade, because of course you're trading, because you're obviously trying to scan and analyze and carry out analysis. And so sometimes during the day, you've got work to do, you've got to be the little kids to look after, and then you find that sometimes, you've not been able to monitor, a trade as you would want to, and then you've realized that either you've missed the trade, you've missed the entry, or you've not been able to monitor it, and then where it's reversed, you've not closed it, at a point where you would have been able to sustain a smaller loss as so it's so that's someone who's saying, but like I said, thankfully, especially like I said, with family or personal consideration. So what I try to do a lot of times now is where even before going to bed at night, or maybe very early in the morning before working, I try to carry out an analysis to see what could play. And if I see that there's a potential setup, I then try to use things like limit orders. So, buy limits to sell limits, or you buy stops or sell stops, so that, it sort of helps to negate the need for me to sort of watch whilst other things are happening and trying to do market execution and trade. So, so things like that.
Yeah.
But with the margin calls, thankfully that's reduced as it were. So, so
Yeah.
we're still learning, like I said, we're still learning.
Yeah, I think it's important to experience things like that as well, and learn from
Yeah.
it. And you seem to have all the knowledge and learned about it, and getting encouragement from other traders as well. Like you said, your friend
Yeah.
at Christmas, and that's great that they can encourage you and you can encourage them.
Yeah.
It happens to people, and it's a great learning curve for people. So I think
Learning
that
curve.
is great that you've came out on top. So that's great.
Yeah.
Um,
Good stuff.
so my next question is, so you're a part of the Funded Trader program with AudaCity Capital, yeah?
I am. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how are you finding it so far? Do you have any feedback? How's your trading been?
No, it's all right. It's all right. And like I said, thankfully, since joining the program back in June, so June, so we were talking about 9 months now. So I've had 3 profit margins, which is good. I mean, I haven't had any feedback yet from obviously, so, but I think if I think I was looking through some of the testimonials on the AudaCity website the other time, and because I mean, I don't know, again, like I said, I mean, I don't know what the percentage would be of traders who have, like I said, had like 3 profit margins. I mean, I don't think it would be that many, because I do know that it was very difficult for me to actually crack the first one. So because usually you start with the 15K account, and I think it took me about a couple of months. I think about a couple of months before I then, got the next one, which is double to 30, and I think that also took me another 2 months before I then got to 60, and then it's taken me about 4 months to because it was only just last week I got the 60 to the 120K. So I'm hoping that because with the next ones, because excuse me, because I know with the next ones, because after the 120K you got the 250 and the 500. I think the 500 is the maximum, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I'm hoping I won't have to wait till that long to get them. But no, but in terms of actually which using the AudaCity platform, no, that's fine. um um Luckily, it's not, there are no regular teething problems with using MT4, with the MT4 platform for Audacity. And we've just been a few times in the past when bless me, just a few times in the past, maybe when there's been some teething problems, which isn't the platform, but otherwise, most of the time, it works fine. If there's only one concern that I do have, it's the fact that a lot of times when I try to contact someone via phone, I can't seem to get anyone via phone. The phone just rings and rings and rings, and no one
Oh,
picks up. And
that
yeah,
might
so
be
some
because we're not in the office at the moment, so that might be why, because
uh
we're not allowed to because of tier 4. So that might be that.
obviously,
But
yeah.
we have our social medias, which I manage, and our support email as well. If you need a reply there, or just send me a message on WhatsApp and I can answer whatever you need.
Oh, okay.
And
Oh, all right, okay.
and I'm glad you're having a good
Okay.
time on our program as well. And I'll definitely pass on your feedback. And congratulations on you're on the 120K account.
Now, yes,
Yeah,
yeah. So now
congratulations.
I'm on now.
That's great news. That's what I love to hear.
Yeah.
So that's great.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
Good stuff. Good stuff.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
glad you're enjoying it. And if you need anything, you have my WhatsApp and email and our social media as
Okay.
well, which we can help you with. And
Oh, good.
that I think that's everything from me today. So thank you
Real.
so much. Yeah, thank you
No
so much for
worries.
this interview. It's been lovely meeting you and lovely speaking to you. And
Same here as well. Same here.
hopefully when you meet the 500K account, we can have another call and see how